Hey, this is your girl, msyelladiva. I am bringing you another episode of BMF, okay? Season 4, Episode 4, Power Trippin', okay? If you are new here, welcome. Welcome. We are all family here, baby. We do reviews here, okay? And if you're returning, welcome back. Welcome back, family. Welcome back. All right. Give me a thumbs up. Like and share and comment and subscribe to my channel. And we will begin. And can y'all like the video? Please. It ain't gonna take you too much to like the video. Thank you. Anyway. I need to speak to the people that's doing this show. I don't need to see every episode they go back to Mexico. Okay? We already know they have escaped Mexico. Meech and Terry. Okay? We already know that. Okay? But now the first one where Meech, got bit by the snake, and then the little medicine man come and kill a chicken and all that other stuff. Yeah, that was cool. But we don't need to see them escaping the federales every day. Every time the episode come on, they escaping the federales. Okay. Now, this week, they go to a store. They ask for some agua, better known as water. And then the federales, the police show up. And they beat these people up. And they escape. We already know they escaped. We don't need to keep going back and forth to see that they escaped again from the federales. Again. And again. And again. Now, I need for y'all to put them in jail and then see how they escape. Now, that'll be a good one, but they can't just keep escaping these federales, okay? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We are in Atlanta. Purdy is in the studio, listening to some beats. What's that name? Duffy. He producing some beats, and so she listens to some beats. Purdy wants to be a rapper, not an R&B princess like Trail wants her to be. She want to be a rapper, okay? But Trail wants her to be a R&B princess like Aaliyah, because she kind of favors Aaliyah. So he want to make a new Aaliyah. And he don't want another Lil Kim or another Foxy Brown, because that was that era. It was Lil Kim and Foxy Brown era. Queen Latifah, I think, was playing on Living Single at this time, so she was doing more acting than. But I think she might have had this little UNITY. She may have had that on there, and And MC Light was, she was still making music. I rock the party that rocks the body. Yeah. She was still making music. I don't think Yo-Yo was making music at that time. I think that was it. But they did come back together with Brandy. I wanna be down. Okay, anyway, that's the ADD kicking in. Anyway, so he wanted to be an R&B princess. She wanted to be a rapper. Okay, that's fine. Meech was like, you got to look like a hip hop artist. We can provide you some jewelry and some clothes and stuff. And so Purdy was like, I'm still in a contract with old boy. And so Meech was like, we can figure that out. That's no problem. And so she was like, well, can you get me into the Source Awards? I know, that's right. Ask for it. Can you get me into the Source Awards? And he was like, yeah, I can get you into the Source Awards. And so she was like, well, you talk a good game, but I just got to see it to believe it. And so, you going to see it to believe it, honey. Okay. So Lucille, we back in Detroit. Lucille, she said, I am counseling all these folks on their financial situation, and I am in the same financial situation as these people that I'm counseling. And so she was just like, property taxes, food, Nicole's room and board. And so she was like, and we're not accepting any money from Meech and Terry. And so Estelle was like, I thought, what's that child's name? I thought that Nicole had a scholarship. And so she was like, yeah, they pay for her tuition, but the room and board you still have to pay. And so she was just like, well, go file for welfare. And she was just like, well, Charles still live in the house. And so she was just like, well, Uncle Sam got secrets. She was just like, you can keep this secret. And she was just like, she said, I'm a pastor. I can't be dishonest. Yes, you are a pastor. You can't be dishonest. Thank you. You lose your flock, baby. But Estelle was like, and so mind you, Estelle walking around in Lucille's fur coat that Meech got her. Okay, she walking around in that like she owned it. And then she was just like, Lucille was like, I think I'm gonna pawn this fur coat. And she was just like, no, don't pawn this fur coat. Estelle was like, pawn your wedding ring that you don't wear. And I was just like, yeah, that's a good point, honey. Pawn your wedding ring that you don't wear. I know that's right. So she thinking about pawning her wedding ring. Terry tells Hoop and B Mickey. Now mind you, B Mickey had to get undressed. In front of him, so he knows that he's not wearing a wire. But he tells Hoop and B Mickey that he going out of town. He going to St. Louis for a few days, and he wants somebody followed. He said because he's questioning their loyalty, and that is Markeisha. He's questioning her loyalty. That ain't cute. So Bryant shows up to the APD, and he shows a picture of he shows a picture of Duffy, but he said his alias is Don Ginkgo, but I need to know his government name because he is wanted for a murder in Detroit, and he's a part of the BMF crew. Bryant, how do you know he wanted for murder if you don't know his government name? You got this. I mean, did you put it on Crime Stoppers? You know this person called Crime Stoppers. How you know he wanted for murder? They ain't have cameras back in the day, so what? Why you know he wanted for murder if you don't know his government name? Because if they had fingerprints, so if the fingerprints, he not in CODIS. He not in CODIS. Maybe he not in CODIS. Maybe they got the fingerprints, but he not in CODIS. Okay. But how you know that's him, though? I still don't know. Okay, we're going to leave that alone. I'm just asking for a friend, okay? Anyway, the cop tells him that, a lot of people go to strip clubs. So he'll probably be in the strip club. And so Brian was like, well, you coming with me? He was like, no. He was like, listen, they know me in the strip club. He was like, if I come up walking in there, he said, they gonna be running like FloJo and Mike Johnson. I know that's right. I forgot forgot about FloJo and Mike Johnson. But they will be running like FloJo and Mike Johnson, honey. The strippers be running like FloJo, and the patrons be running like Mike Johnson. I know that's right. So, T wants Wanda to hold some money for him. She said that she quit doing hair. She just, she gonna get a city job, and she said because, she ain't a therapist and, people come to her with all their problems. So she gonna quit doing hair. But he wants her to hold some money for him. And so it seems like T is making his enterprise in Detroit, which consists of B. Mickey, Hoop, Markeisha, and Wanda, and Worm. And, but Markeisha gave him that idea to create your enterprise and not stop focusing on Meech's enterprise. So, but he still have her followed. Okay, whatever. So Meech takes Loco to a warehouse. He takes Loco and a Colombian dude. I guess he's a Colombian dude. I don't know. To a warehouse in St. Louis where they gonna stash the product and then divvy it out to different areas, and and they're gonna bring the cars in there and they're gonna load the cars up and drive off. So Loco tells Meech that the cartel wants money for this new location and those two guys that got shot up with that filed we got balloons that messed up golly that messed up drop at ATL where they didn't find anything and Officer Kane or Detective Kane got killed. So they want money for those two Colombian guys that got killed. So Meech was like, bet, that's fine. We can take care of that. Charles takes Cece on a date. Okay? And Cece ex-husband comes talking about, what you doing with my woman? What you doing with my woman? Yeah, okay. So they get into a fight. Him and Charles get into a fight. Charles beats the black off of him. Okay, beats the black off of him. Beats him so bad. He like he talked about his mama. Okay, that's how bad he beat him. Okay, yes, he beats the black off of him. So Nicole, Worm is supposed to pick up Nicole and take her back and forth to work because she don't have a car because Meechie gave her a stolen car and now she don't have no car. So Worm got to go and pick her up and take her back and forth to work. So when he drive her home, he said, you go to Morris Brown. And she said, yeah. And so he was like, well, that's good. He was like, I go to Wayne State. And so she was looking at him like, you a criminal. He was like, he said, no, my father died. I got to take care of my family. So, hustling is going to do that for me. It's going to pay my tuition and help me take care of my family until I graduate. And then I'm going to stop hustling and get a job. And so she, her panties got wet for that conversation. Okay, so the next time he goes and picks her up, she smashes him in the restaurant. Okay, and I hope T don't come home while she's smashing him in the restaurant. Okay, So T upset that Meech went to see Loco without him, and he still don't trust Jay Pusha with good reason. Okay. Meech tells T we got to rebrand Purdy into a rapper and take her to the Source Awards. He's like, bet. So Trail uses old school tactics to play his artist song on the radio. So there are two old school tactics to play to get the song played on the radio. One is that you bribe them. You give them some good money and they play your song on the radio. The second is that that you beat the brakes off of them. Like Charles did CC ex-husband. And they play your song because they scared of you. That was the Suge Knight approach, was you beat the brakes off of them. Allegedly, because I don't know. You beat the brakes off of them, and then they play your song. So Trail is that's the second one. He tried to drown this guy in the sink. Okay. Then he gonna put Purdy in a girl group because he said girl groups are hot this nowadays, and that was the Guys Honest Truth. They had plenty of girl groups and guy groups. They had SWV, they had In Vogue, they had Jade, they had Ex-Girlfriend, they had what else? They had Escape. They had a bunch of girl groups back in the 90s. So I understand why he wanted to put. They had who else did they have? Total. They had Changing Faces. Yeah, they had a lot of girl groups back in the 90s. And guy groups. They had a lot of guy groups back in the 90s too. But so he now mind you, these two girls are sniffing cocaine. Sniffing. And they butt naked. Well, they got a little thongs on and stuff. And so he was like, "You gonna be in a girl group with them?" Now, mind you, she fully clothed, and she was like, "Who? What?" And she was like, "I'm a solo artist." He was like, "You gonna be who I want you to be." Whoo, boy! All right. So he snatches her up. And like I said, he said you wouldn't be shit without me. Okay, whatever. So, we go back to St. Louis. Jay Pusha, we had Jay Pusha house. Now, mind you, Jay Pusha seemed like he been on a shopping spree. He got bags and bags and bags of stuff. Okay, and he got like shoes, clothes, everything. Then they bringing video games in there. Not the little ones. No, the big ones, the big tall ones. They bringing video games in there. I was like, don't y'all see this? Don't y'all see this? So Meech and Terry let Jay Pusha and his crew telling them y'all don't make moves without talking to us first. So they trying to establish the chain of command again. Okay. And so of course, you like my bad, you know what I'm saying? My bad. Jay Pusha. So then they go on the casino boat because they were like, you want to gamble? They go on the casino boat. And Jay Pusha's little brother Carter, who didn't get into Major League or whatever because they thought he was throwing up a Crip sign. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I thought he got hurt for some reason, and that he couldn't he couldn't go into the major league. I thought he got hurt, but he said he was throwing up a crip sign. I don't know, child. Whatever case may be, he ain't in the major league, and he mad because he ain't in the major league, and he can't stand his brother Jay Pusher. Okay, and then he get into it with these Muslims, and so he get into it so bad that T had to take him home, and on the ride home, he telling T that the Muslims can't stand my brother, so I think T probably gonna set Jay Pusher up to get unalived by these Muslims, I guess. But he said that the Jay Pusher and the Muslims got beef, so maybe he gonna team up with the Muslims. I don't know. Don't give me the line, but I was just like, that's convenient how you telling T all your brother's business. But we're gonna leave that alone anyway. So B Mickey comes home, finds an envelope from Pastor Lucille, and gave him some money out of the benevolent fund. She should get some money out of the benevolent fund anyway. And so she said, keep praying, always read your Bible. T gave him the other part of his daughter's surgery. So he got all his money for his daughter's surgery. Hopefully his daughter don't have to have no more surgeries, because this is absolutely ridiculous. What's going on with this child? Okay, what's going on with this child? Anyway, so they trailing Markeisha. Markeisha going to see Boom at the prison first, and so they were like, Hoop and B Mickey was like, oh, she playing T with Boom and stuff, and so then she goes to see a cop. So they were like, she playing T, Boom, and a cop. So, but Markeisha was like talking to the cop, like, thank you for looking into Isaac Roberts for me. So he was just looking into somebody. He wanted some more. He wanted some more for his time in trouble, but she wasn't trying to give him none. But she says, thank you for, looking into Isaac Roberts for me. So, we will see when T get back home and they tell him what happened. So they in ATL. Tina got the tickets for the Source Awards. Go ahead, Tina. Got the Source Award. And so Meech was like, now we need to get you dressed for the Source Awards. And so then she was just like, man, y'all got me in the Source Awards. He was like, fuck Trail, I'm signing with y'all. No, that's right. So once she said she's signing with them, they give her a chain welcoming her to Stomping Ground Records, and she said, this is yours to keep. You don't have to, it's not borrowed, it's not rented or whatever. This is yours to keep. And so they get her dressed and ready for to fly out to to New York. Duffy he ain't got a ticket to the Source Awards, so Duffy goes to the palace. Okay, he go to the palace where Bryant is on one side of the room and Duffy's on the other side of the room. So Bryant spots Duffy, but then a stripper come over and she was like, Daddy, you want me to strip for you? So she turned her head this way, and when she turned his head this way, Duffy had already spotted him, and so when he turned back, Duffy was gone. So Duffy got away, okay? But I still don't know how you don't know what his government name is. How you know how you know he wanted for murder if you don't know his government name? You don't know who he is. Did you see the murder and he came running out? How do you know? Okay, that's neither here nor there. So Charles tells Lucille, yeah, Charles, you need to go because just in case you killed that man, because he didn't get up. Okay, just in case you killed that man, he tells Lucille they going back on tour. He said, but they ain't going back on tour, but for 2 months. And so she was just like, oh man. she said, because I've been trying to get welfare, but you still living in this house. And he got kind of perturbed. He was like, oh, so you want me out this house so you can get some free money? He said, I'll be out your hair sooner than you think. Okay. I mean, it's the truth though. I don't know how much he making at this plant though. How he went back to work. He went back to work at the plant. How much is he making at the plant? I mean, Meechy paid off the house. I mean, is the property taxes that bad? Because I mean, y'all don't live in the greatest neighborhood. Is the property taxes that bad? You might need to go back to Wendy's. I'm sorry. I mean, still, you might need a part-time job, sugar. Your kid's grown. I don't understand how. I mean, now I can understand with the tuition, the room and board. The room and board. I have somebody else pay for that. Okay, I'm gonna stop. We're gonna leave that alone. Anyway, so they go to the Source Awards. Yay! Hold on. Okay. Goes to the Source Awards, okay? Then they got all these wonderful lookalikes. This is beautiful, okay? Bring me back to my college years, okay? They got Biggie and Lil' Kim, okay? They got Purdy looking like Aaliyah. Okay, I told you they wanted to look like Leah. They got Bone Thugs and Harmony. The bone, 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 bone. See you at the crossroads, or you don't be lonely. Yes, honey. They got the Wu-Tang Clan, Cream, Dollar Bill, y'all. And they said the West Coast, and they had a guy in all red, but he was small. And he had a cigar, so maybe that's Suge Knight on Slim Fast, because he wasn't big. He wasn't big like Suge Knight. So I was just like, I said, I don't know who that is. That may be Suge Knight on Slim Fast, because Suge Knight smoked a cigar too. It didn't. Well, it could have. Well, Dr. Dre ain't in the game though. And it definitely wasn't Snoop, because Snoop ain't, he a Crip, he ain't the blood. So, listen, I don't know. And they had Outkast, and he said, when Outkast said the South got something to say, he said that turned it around for all the South. And I said, that's true. That is true. South has something to say, and they've been saying it since then. They've been saying it since then. Because back in the day, it was nobody from the South except for on mainstream, except for Outkast, because I was in Ohio and I hadn't heard of anybody, not even the Goody Mob. I hadn't heard of the Goody Mob either, and Goody Mob was very popular too. But the only group that I heard of from the South was Outkast, and so I didn't know when I came down, when I came to Atlanta, It's all of the South just was all over the place. But that was back in early 2000s anyway. So that's when Ludacris was out, and uh uh Goody Mob, Outkast. Who else was out? Ti was. I don't think Ti was out. That I don't know. Don't give me line, child. Anyway, so Trail break up the party talking about what the fuck we doing here, cause Purdy was over there with Big Meech and Terry, and he was like, what you doing here? so so Purdy was like, I signed with them, and he was like, no, you under contract with me. And so Terry was like, well, name your price. And so Trail was like, that's not how it work, Nick. That's not how it work. And so they get into a scuffle, kerfluffle. So he said, he said, y'all can have her. I'll send over the paperwork to be signed. And Meech was like, soft ass nigga. And Trail was like, y'all don't know who y'all fucking with. He said, fuck you, soft ass nigga. Fucking soft ass. That's what he said. Fucking soft ass. So, and then Jay Pusher meets with Loco and the other Colombian dude. And so Loco was like, where's Dimitri? And so Jay Pusher was like, his head ain't in the game. He is up in New York somewhere. And so and I'm gonna see if we can do business without Dimitri. And so they said we'll be in touch. So we don't know what's gonna happen with that. Okay. But that was the end of the episode. Okay. Give me a thumbs up, like and share and comment and subscribe to my channel, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.